a seed of life may grow. In my somethingness a light may finally show. In my growingness wisdom I may know. In my beingness love may finally flow. In my nothingness a seed of life may grow. In my somethingness a light may finally show. In my growingness wisdom I may know. In my beingness love may finally flow. In my nothingness a seed of life may grow. In my somethingness a light may finally show. In my growingness wisdom I may know. In my beingness love may finally flow.
I have nothing.
You possess life. What greater possession is there, since all others follow rather than precede this one?
Without additional resources, my life remains defined by limitations.
All of your life?
No, but especially that part within which my heart's desire is to be found.
So you are blessed with a precious dream in your heart.
Yes, but also the punishment of not having the means to transform the dream into a shared reality.
Here are three choices, all of which have unlimited potential. Which one are you willing to receive? The first has limited resources. The second has modest resources. And the third has great resources.
How is it that all potential is unlimited? And why would anyone choose anything other than the greatest resources?
You already possess imagination. This gives every resource unlimited potential. But realizing that potential is impossible within complete isolation. Imagination, in combination with relationship, however, produces miracles.
And the reason for choosing anything less than the greatest possible resources?
What is your capacity to trust? Yourself, others, circumstances, life, or me?
I trust myself completely.
Really?
Yes, I think so.
Are you certain?
Well, obviously not. Is certainty even possible?
Is certainty required?
Well, what if I make a mistake?
What is a mistake?
It's when, I guess it depends upon my own limited perspective. Yet I do not wish to cause any pain, discomfort, or misfortune.
And if that pain, discomfort, or misfortune is constructively utilized and ultimately beneficial, was any mistake truly committed?
Well, I don't know. Should I still make a choice? You said there were three possibilities from which to choose. What if I don't choose the right one?
What if each of them is in fact the right one?
How can three distinct choices all be the right one?
What makes any choice right?
The wisdom and love I bring to the choice?
Are you asking me to answer the question for you?
Will you?
No. This question you must answer for yourself, because you will not be fully committed to any answer that you do not regard as your own.
Then my answer is that I would like to attempt each of the three possibilities.
Very well. Considering this abundance of difficult questions, complex relationships, and unlimited potential, what sort of person will you show yourself to be?
Meager resources as measured by man, seeds in the soil of God's almighty hand, embracing the mystery since time first began, of wisdom and love, right here where we stand. Meager resources as measured by man, seeds in the soil of God's almighty hand, embracing the mystery since time first began, of wisdom and love, right here where we stand.
Is your life still defined by limitations?
I have made many mistakes attempting to effectively utilize the resources entrusted to me. In spite of my efforts, I do not know whether the ultimate outcome will be good.
What inspired your attempts?
For a moment, I was blessed with a glimpse of the beauty and wisdom of another person's soul. I wanted to honor it with a gift of some sort, but I felt I had nothing to give.
Was this your experience of managing limited resources?
Apparently, but it was confusing. Although I had limited material resources, my mental and emotional resources did not appear to share those limitations. I could laugh, cry, or imagine as much as any moment needed.
So you were fully present within each moment, with all that, in and of yourself, you could feel, think, or do.
Yes, in some ways it was as if the material limitations didn't matter. Yet they did matter because certain actions remained beyond my reach.
Were those actions essential?
Apparently not, but I still wished for them.
Why?
Because of the beauty and empowerment I believed they would bring.
And if they did not? What if your belief and trust were betrayed?
Then I would still be better for having tried.
How so?
Because my knowledge and wisdom would be increased.
Is that knowledge and wisdom essential?
Yeah, only to a specific outcome. My life continues either way.
With each new day, life begins again.
Begins, yes, but also continues. The past is never completely gone.
Nor does it remain completely present. What about the future?
It also is neither fully present nor fully absent. Its tentative presence within my mind strongly influences my actions, yet the future's presence is specifically tentative, at least partially unformed, and subject to change.
So considering this abundance of difficult questions and complex relationships, what sort of person will you show yourself to be?
When the light is too bright, just like darkest night, I stumble and cannot see. When the good and the bad cannot clearly be had, and the choice is left to me. When the black and the white have disappeared from sight, leaving gray everywhere around, may faith and hope yet take a hold of my hands and guide me to solid ground. When the light is too bright, just like darkest night, I stumble and cannot see. When the good and the bad cannot clearly be had, and the choice is left to me. When the black and the white have disappeared from sight, leaving gray everywhere around, may faith and hope yet take a hold of my hands and guide me to solid ground. When the light is too bright, just like darkest night, I stumble and cannot see. When the good and the bad cannot clearly be had, and the choice is left to me. When the black and the white have disappeared from sight, leaving gray everywhere around, may faith and hope yet take a hold of my hands and guide me to solid ground.
Is your life still defined by limitations?
I am finding that my limitations sometimes also create my opportunities.
How so?
Specifically because a door of opportunity closed when I approached, I discovered an alternative door that was better than the first, but I had not previously known that the other door even existed. By feeling a need my resources were unable to satisfy, I was also prompted to examine my resources more closely and thereby recognize potential that I had not realized my resources possessed. Metaphorically, when a wall appeared in front of me, I was inspired to use it as the canvas upon which to paint a beautiful mural.
Was this your experience of managing a modest amount of resources?
Yes and no. I found myself with more pieces, parts, and possibilities than were previously available to me, but no, I don't recall any significant increase in material resources.
Are you saying that you did not notice whether or not the volume of material resources available to you increased?
Yes, I was too focused on the relationships, work, and experiences of life itself.
So material objects were no more than stage props, available at specific moments within the unfolding of your story, to empower that story, but having no eternal value outside of the experience of that story.
Yes, I felt no need to own them as long as I could use them to somehow enhance or empower the story.
For those who did not have such resources available to them, the situation must have appeared quite unfair.
I suppose so. Would it have been wise to give the resources to others instead of using them myself?
Did your use of those resources accomplish the greatest possible good of which the resources were capable, or was your use of them characterized by wastefulness, disrespect, selfishness, and apathy?
I am ashamed to say that the most truthful answer to both parts of that question is sometimes.
Your behavior is inconsistent, one way or the other.
Well, that's a major understatement. Consistency is certainly not one of my personal virtues, nor in all of the thousands of people I've met within my life has there been a single individual who is not an ever-fluctuating combination of good and bad qualities.
How can that be tolerated?
I found within each case that the more I knew of the particular person's story, the more the behavioral inconsistency made sense. Ignorance, conversely, created fear and a perception of adversity.
So, considering this abundance of difficult questions and complex relationships, what sort of person will you show yourself to be?
Hands holding hands can hold the world. Hearts holding hearts can live anew. My hand to yours and your heart to mine can make every dream come true. Hands holding hands can hold the world. Hearts holding hearts can live anew. My hand to yours and your heart to mine can make every dream come true.
Is your life still defined by limitations?
Having an abundance of resources is quite distracting. An inordinate amount of time seems to be spent in either figuring out where to put everything or in trying to maintain effective communication with those whom I've employed to do so on my behalf. The first option leaves me tired all of the time, but the latter option leaves me dependent upon people and things I cannot fully control.
You could just give it all to someone else in order to return to a more manageable level.
Yes, I could, but I think I would be cheating both others and myself by doing so.
How so?
If I have been given an opportunity and invitation for self-development, it would be reprehensible and ungrateful of me to decline for no greater reason than that it seemed like too much work. By avoiding my own growth and development, my potential contribution to life, to the world, and to others around me would be diminished. By not having access to the resource that I myself would otherwise become, I would impoverish the community which surrounds me, as well as the larger world of humanity too.
Okay. So why is dependency objectionable to you?
My trust in persons and things upon which I must depend has occasionally been betrayed and disappointed.
Just as you have occasionally disappointed others' trust.
Well, perhaps there are some similarities.
What about the resource itself?
I believe that it was most honored when it was utilized to accomplish the greatest and most inclusive good. When it was utilized only for my own enjoyment, the good which the resource accomplished somehow remained small and petty, perhaps even excessively defined by limitations.
So where is wisdom to be found? In yourself? In the community?
Wisdom could be found anywhere, but it is rarely always found in the same place. Although not a specific place, it seems to me that wisdom is always found within relationships.
So what is the distinction between relationship and dependency?
Either may be chosen or imposed depending upon specific circumstances. The ability to choose, however, flourishes much more within relationship than within dependency.
Why is this ability so important?
Perhaps because it is the dynamic by which all of life continues to expand, to develop, and to grow, even in those instances when no associated conscious intention can be identified. The mere fact that one thing happened when another could have suggests that in some way a choice was genuinely made. Beginning with the choice of whether to respond with conscious interrelationship or conversely to allow the soul to languish in apathy. How tragic to leave the body alive while the soul dies, starving to death in the midst of abundant possibility. How very, very sad. For life to be what it must be, to be what it truly is, we must strive for greater possibilities than this.
So considering this abundance of difficult questions and complex relationships, what sort of person will you show yourself to be?
Spirit as the circle within which all things shine, the dust, cloud, wind, and fire that I can know as mine, the reason for living from here to farthest line. Spirit as the circle within which all things shine. Spirit as the circle within which all things shine, the dust, cloud, wind, and fire that I can know as mine, the reason for living from here to farthest line. Spirit as the circle within which all things shine.
Is your life still defined by limitations?
Defined? No, although I do still experience them in various ways. Perhaps they may become my teachers.
What instruction, insights, or lessons might limitations be able to provide?
It is a significant paradox that as signposts to deeper truths, their possibilities are infinite. Like signposts, however, their voices are often silent and their presence awaiting discovery. The one who cannot cease talking and listen, who cannot cease moving and look, and who cannot cease demanding and ask, is most likely to miss the wisdom such signposts would otherwise provide.
The three categories of resources are now gone. Are you once again left with nothing?
No, I have myself, with all of the memories, imagination, abilities, and possibilities that being fully myself includes. It is probable, however, that I will continue to make mistakes, that I will occasionally betray others' trust, and that in spite of valiant efforts, I will occasionally fail.
Why is it important for you to remember this?
Specifically because it is the awareness of my frailty that empowers the paradox of courage and genuine humility.
And why is that important to remember?
Specifically because it is my connection with all that lies beneath, beyond, and around me, beckoning me both toward discoveries and development previously unimagined, as well as toward practices of compassion, of which I have in times past been the beneficiary.
And why is this connection so important?
I have found it to be the soul of life itself, and I'm no longer able to ignore its beauty, its wisdom, and its love. Within that beauty, wisdom, and love, however, I am also now very aware that I will not always make mistakes, that I will not always betray others' trust, and that sometimes my valiant efforts will succeed.
So, considering this abundance of difficult questions and complex relationships, what sort of person will you show yourself to be?
In my nothingness, a seed of life may grow. In my somethingness, a light may finally show. In my growingness, wisdom I may know. In my beingness, love may finally flow. In my nothingness, a seed of life may grow. In